Welcome back to another Tera Plays Tera video. So in today's video, we are going to go over etchings in Tera Console in 2026. Now, there are three main etchings we are going to go over. That is face etchings, armor/weapon etchings, and then jewelry etchings. And all three of those etchings have two different types of etchings that we will cover. So stay tuned to the end when I talk about jewelry etchings and kind of tease something that we're going to get that's new for Tera Console. So let's dive in. The first thing I want to cover is face etchings. Face etchings are only for the cosmetical item, and it is for your face etching. It only works on the top one because this row of costumes is what gives you your stats. So as you can see here, I don't have any currently active, and that is because I've let it fall off, and we'll kind of discuss that there are two types of face etchings you can use in Tera Console, and those are the face etching Aurora Wings, as well as the Brilliant Aurora Wings. So there's two separate face etchings you can get. You can either pay to win and get them through Battle Pass, but I'm not really going to talk too much about that, even though that is kind of the better version, or better way of getting them, unfortunately, or you can craft them. The big thing to know between the differences is that the plain Aurora Wings are only gonna last for 14 days. And then as far as the Brilliant Aura Wings, well, those are permanent. But do understand that even high tier Brilliant Aura Wings, you don't come across them as much as you do just the plain Aurora Wings. And as you can see here, I only have a tier 4. I've never seen, I think maybe you can get a tier 5, possibly a 6. I've personally never seen them go anywhere up to, like, what is this, 8. And 8 gives you an additional 15 power as well as 15 endurance. And, then, what's this, 7 gives 10. While 4 does give 5. So the nice thing about the Brilliant ones is they are permanent. You would never have to re-etch again, and this is better for your lower level characters, or if you're just playing casually. If you are trying to mid-max a character, well, you would want to use the ones that only last 14 days. Now, if you want to get them besides the Battle Pass, then you would have to craft, and you can come over to etchings and see fashion etchings, and you would craft these boxes, and all you gotta do is get 3 Twilight Feathers, 4 Sacred Crystals, and 5 Ancient Essence. And for anyone who doesn't remember when these came out, the way you get those is by doing your good old BAMs. So the Onyx Hydrus, I think this is the lower ones. Yeah, 20. You would do each tier of BAMs on IOD. So the lowest tier IOD BAM, let's see, the Basilisk and the Obelisk, these guys give the green one, like the name. These guys gives the next tier, and then the higher guys gives the feather. So basically, if you are working on etchings and you don't have all your cosmetics, I highly recommend, might as well hunt it at the same time. And when you open up those boxes, you will have a chance of getting multiple different versions. You'll either get, randomly, the T4 blues that are permanent. You can get, the T6 that only lasts for 14 days. And basically that is how you get your face etching. This is something you could kind of work on casually as you're playing the game. I do recommend, if you're a new player and you know, if you're a new player, if you have any characters, honestly, that are under item level, I would even argue 800, you might as well farm this, because there are other things we're going to go over, especially for jewelry etchings, that you might as well farm your BAMs. It's actually a good thing to do, as well as if you're under, like I said, 750, definitely, 800, kind of argue, but even if you're under 800 item level, there's not enough dungeons in the game to complete your vanguards, so you might as well go fight some BAMs to finish up your vanguards, and then you can get your etchings and you can get all that stuff. Now, if you really want to know how to etch something, if that's something that you're confused about, I will go over it right now. Basically, if I wanted to etch this, I would press Y on it, and you would hit etch, and you would select whatever one you wanted. So just to show, I have a bunch of these, just to prove that that does only last 15 days. Well, there you go. It states right there, it only lasts for 14 days, 23 hours, and 59 minutes. So after that time period, that etching will fall off. The next etchings we're going to go over are for your weapon and armor. There are two types. There are the very old school that you can't get anymore. You can get the T1 through 3s by crafting, we'll cover that, or the new school etchings. The new school etchings are better, and you know, I would say for anyone who's played, if you have the old ones, they're great for alts, but at this point you do want to use the new school, because the new school etchings just have better stats in certain ways. And what I want to stress here is, for new players, not to go crazy about getting good etchings. And we're going to go over why, and we're going to start with, you know, the new school etchings. I'll go over how to get the old ones in case you really wanted to. But the new school etchings, when you run dungeons, you're going to get just, you know, etching boxes, technically. So, last stand, it's not going to show up in that, but CAA. CAA would drop you a chance of getting a rare random etching box, whereas Grotto also, I think AAHM and Last Stand, yeah, Last Stand has the legendary, AAHM has the rare, and so on and so forth. As you go down, you get the rare, then you get the rare, the regular one, uncommon, and then you only get uncommons, and eventually at the lowest you can get common etchings. So we're gonna open those up, and as I'm opening these up, you can see you get a white one. No matter what, you get the green ones, and the blue boxes give the blue ones, so on and so forth. This video, I'm not gonna tell you what to run etching wise, because it doesn't really matter what I say at this moment. I highly recommend you go over to a class guide and figure out what's best to run. This video is not to instruct you on what to run, it's to instruct you how to get it and what to use at your level. Meaning, every time you upgrade a weapon or upgrade anything from, you know, Stormcry to Heroic Oath, you're gonna lose your etching. This theory still works for jewelry as well. So I would suggest, if you're new to the game, do not try and push high tier etchings unless you're on Annihilation gear, or it's the beginning of season gear and you plan to use your season gear throughout that season. If you're farming season end, you know, your Kaya's gear up to Annie, just put on whatever etching you get that you're happy to lose, because as soon as you upgrade to Annihilation, you're gonna lose the etching. You're gonna have to re-etch. And this becomes important because, you know, even though you get a white one that gives 5% damage, Gauntlet's giving you power that's increased 20. Whereas when we get to the blue ones, well, that's even more higher. That's 7% that you now lose, as well as the blue etchings have a chance to crit to go up to a legendary etching when you apply it. So if I was to try and etch my gloves with 7%, I have a small chance of it going to 9%. or cooldown. This works for all of them. You can get 10% damage, and it can crit to 12%. You can also just get a legendary, grade etching and apply it and guarantee you get the roll you want. But again, I wouldn't try to force that on your gear unless you're on Annihilation, unless you are on the top gear and you're ready to use that gear, or if you're so far ahead that you're like, you know what, this is my main character, I have plenty of these etchings, I'm gonna use what I can, then go ahead and use those etchings, because that's, why not? It's not the worst thing to use if you have a bunch of extra etchings laying around. But if you're someone who's new, you might not have a bunch of etchings laying around, so I would recommend using the lower ones, because again, on that gear it's going to go away. Same thing with growth gear at the end of the season, which for season 1 is April 9th. You're not going to use it anymore, therefore you lose those etchings because you gotta dismantle it. You're not going to be able to remove it to retry and use it on something else. So I just play accordingly with what you have. Now, if you're an old school player, you would remember T3, T4, T4's critting to T5s. All of that stuff is kind of gone. It's not too big of a deal for gear wise, because you can get still cooldown etchings, you can get attack speed etchings, you can get power. Basically, you just can't get energetics, you can't get a combination of cooldown and attack speed, but there are ways to make up losing that attack speed now, and you can check out future videos of what rolls to get for runes, card attack speed makes it up, all sorts of stuff makes it up. But earlier we talked about fashion etching crafting. You can still craft all of these etching stuff, and you could still get T3 etchings. So you could still craft up etching powder 3 and go ahead and buy yourself, a T3 energetic weapon, a T3 energetic glove, and hope that it crits and all of that stuff. But you can't get T4s anymore unless you buy them off the trade broker. You can't get T5s again unless you buy them off the trade broker. But those are being slowly cycled out with basically the damage etching. Basic breakdown: if you're playing a DPS, you're mostly going to run damage or cooldown. 90% of DPS run damage. I think only small classes run cooldown. Tanks and lancers, brawler, lancer, tanks in general, typically run cooldown, and then healers run cooldown or power, mostly power for that extra power on their buffs. But so these etchings are not really used anymore, and that's something to note, that these have basically been cycled out. Now that we've gone over the basics of weapon and armor etching, the last etching to go over is jewelry / accessory etchings. Now, people do remember, again, we used to have, just like weapon, armor, all of that, we used to have T4s that went to T5s. Again, those old school etchings are obsolete, but if you still want to craft T3s, because technically when it comes to jewelry, when you're starting out, I'm going to be honest, getting your hands on T3s is a lot better. And you can craft your necklace and earring, you can craft the ring and belt, you cannot craft the brooch etching, and we're going to go over the brooch etching. That's probably the one you're going to have the hardest time and to focus on. And the reason I say all this and why you might want to consider crafting these or obtaining the old school 3s, which you can still obtain the old school 3 etchings with the accessory etching 3 coupon. You can come here and you can buy all the necklace, you can buy earring, and you can buy ring. You cannot buy belt from here, and you cannot buy brooch. But personally, this is why I said doing your BAMs as a new player is very useful, because if you come to other and you farm 80 of these, you can buy one level 3 accessory etching. Now, this is important for 2 reasons. If you're new to Tera, every time you upgrade your accessories, which you're going to want to upgrade them relatively fast because you get more power or crit, you get stronger that way. And there's a plan of them to make upgrading to Kaya's jewelry a lot cheaper. Every time you upgrade, you're gonna lose your etching. So if you're new, you don't need to be losing it consistently, especially if you get, how I have, a power 7, a power 8, a power 8. We're gonna go over how to get these, but these etchings are some of the hardest things to get, because you gotta come over to the specialty merchant, and then you come to combat supplies, and you buy any of these. You could buy the ring ones, the earrings, and it takes 100 mysterious powder and 1 diamond and 5,000 gold. Now that's not too bad, because diamonds are pretty easy to get. Vanguard supplies, you could buy the mysterious powder, they're pretty cheap, but buying those you sacrifice getting your cards. So etchings is something you might want to consider doing after cards, because cards are so much stronger than etchings. Even though, yes, we want our characters etched, here's where it starts getting really a pain. Is that I've made some of those etchings, and I forgot to pull any of them out. Conversion scroll. When you make one of these, do I have one that's already made? I believe I do. I just need to find it. Maybe I didn't have any more made. Alright, well, for the sake of the video, I will make one. I thought I had one made. I do apologize. Probably made, it's just on a different character. Mysterious powder, we still have 100. Perfect. I do apologize for not prepping all of that earlier. I should have. But you come over and you craft it. And now you have a mysterious brooch etching. When you read the mysterious brooch etching, you have a possible outcome of getting power 1 through 8, crit 2 through 16, endurance 1 through 8, crit resistance 1 through 8, max HP is 500, 1000, 1500, 2000, 2500, 3000, 3500, and 4000. All of those outcomes are possible. You could get any single one of those, and you don't know how many times these power rings, power 8 would see power 1, power 2, power 1, crit 3 or crit 4, endurance 1, endurance 3, power 6. Oh my god, I had a power 6 one, and then it would drop to power 1 again. It's random. So etching your jewelry is the very last thing you want to do, and that's why I said if you're new, you shouldn't be putting etchings on your jewelry of that caliber. Especially when we already talked about running BAMs for face etchings, completing your vanguards with them. They give you the vanguard credits so you can buy stuff from that shop, as well as they give you 25 Dawnstorm tokens, which you can then use to buy T3 etchings, get a guaranteed T3 etching, and at least use that on the meantime while you're grinding out the rest of your stuff. And the reason I say this right now is because if you've been reading what the devs have put out, we are getting Annihilation jewelry. It has been confirmed. We are going to get that in Season 2, which means all of those etchings I spent, they get power 8, power 7 on all of these items. I gotta farm again. I gotta do. So I don't want to see other people make those same mistakes. It's one of the things when you are at endgame, I will do it because I will get the resources to do it. Don't mind, my cards are near done. But I'm putting this out there for those that are new. Farm your Storm tokens, do not waste your resources. Get your gear up to Annihilation and get your jewelry up to Annihilation before you start going crazy on your jewelry etchings. In my opinion, etchings come after cards. You can work on cards first because cards are going to give you way more power and damage, kind of, than your etchings, and focusing on your armor and jewelry is going to be better than trying to hard focus etchings. Of course, still etch stuff, but again, the reason why I'm saying is, you know, we're getting new stuff, so don't go too crazy. Now, I have spoke to the dev. They don't plan on making high-end tier etchings easier to accomplish. They actually do see etchings as something that should be the last thing done. In other words, you should be focusing on cards, you should be focusing on pets. And I believe it's cards, stigmas, pets, then etchings I think they want us to focus on, and then runes is like the very last thing you should focus on. But with that said, definitely focus on your cards. If you aren't, check out my previous video. It came out a few days before this one, about leveling cards in a card guide. This is an etching guide. I hope you guys, if you have any questions, feel free to ask and I will do my best to answer them in the comment section. I hope this helps anyone new understand where they can get etchings, not to waste like higher level etchings on lower level gear that you're just going to lose the etching, and don't waste your resources. Especially like, yes, I have those 8, power 8. A lot of us at the end game do. If you're new and you're just getting your Kaya stuff, do not waste those mysterious etchings. Hold on to them until we get Annihilation jewelry. It's just the way the game rotates. There's always upgrades coming out. Of course, if you want to mid-max a character, you're going to go for it as soon as you get the new gear. But if you're someone new, if you're someone just enjoying the game, it's okay to use lower grade stuff. It seriously is. Don't worry too much about it. Focus on getting the other things that are slightly more important up, and then grind hard on those. That's about it. If you have any questions, please ask in the comment section. I'll do my best to answer them. As always, I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, go ahead and hit that subscribe and like button. Don't forget to hit the bell for the notifications. That way you can see all my future guides coming out. I got a stigma one and a pet guide planned to be coming out very soon. With that, I hope you all are having a wonderful and or fantastic day and or night. And as always, I hope to see you in the Boria Gamers.